What happens when a pharmaceutical billionaire's 25-year-old heiress walks into Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom for vehicular assault charges, then literally laughs in his face while declaring this court means nothing to me, and filming proceeding on her phone for social media entertainment? This arrogant woman is about to learn that some laughter stops instantly, some viral videos backfire in ways you never imagined, and some judges ask one question about medication that unravels everything. But what makes this case absolutely devastating isn't just the disrespect or the social media mockery. It's what Judge Caprio discovered when he asked what pills she was taking, triggering an FDA investigation that exposed her father's company distributing unapproved drugs and causing his $8 billion empire to collapse. Subscribe now. It's a Tuesday morning in Providence Municipal Court, and something unusual is already happening before the session officially begins. Court staff are gathering near the bailiff's desk, whispering urgently and pointing at their phones. Several are showing each other the same video, their expressions a mixture of shock and disbelief. The video shows a young woman, clearly wealthy, sitting in what appears to be a limousine. She's laughing as she talks to the camera, her phone held up in selfie mode. "So apparently I have to go to court today," she says, rolling her eyes dramatically. "Some ridiculous charges about a car accident. My lawyer says I have to show up, but honestly, it's going to be hilarious. I'm going to film the whole thing. The judge is going to be some old man who has no idea who I am or what real power looks like. This is going to be content gold for my followers." The video has been viewed 2.3 million times in the past 18 hours. The comments section is filled with outrage, people demanding to know who this entitled woman is and calling for justice. Judge Frank Caprio has seen the video. His assistant showed it to him that morning. He watched it once, his expression unreadable, then said simply, "Let's proceed with the case as scheduled." The bailiff calls the court to order, and the first few cases proceed normally. Then comes the case everyone has been waiting for. The state of Rhode Island versus Alexis Patricia Hoffman. Charges: vehicular assault, reckless driving causing injury, leaving the scene of an accident, and driving under the influence of controlled substances. The courtroom doors open, and Alexis Hoffman makes an entrance designed for maximum attention. She's 25 years old, strikingly beautiful in a way that comes from expensive skincare, professional styling, and a lifetime of privilege. Her blonde hair falls in perfect waves past her shoulders. She's wearing a designer dress that probably cost $5,000, Valentino by the look of it, in a shade of pink that matches her Louboutin heels perfectly. Her handbag is a limited edition Chanel, at least $12,000. Diamond jewelry sparkles at her ears, neck, and wrists, easily worth six figures combined. But what's most striking about her entrance is what she's carrying in her hand. Her phone. She's filming. Walking into the courtroom actively filming on her phone, narrating for her social media followers. "Okay, guys, here we are," she says into her phone, her voice cheerful and mocking. "Providence Municipal Court. Look at this place. It's so quaint, so ordinary. This is where regular people come when they get parking tickets or whatever." The bailiff immediately moves toward her. "Ma'am, you cannot film in this courtroom. Turn off your phone immediately." Alexis laughs, actually laughs at him. "Relax, officer. My followers deserve to see this. This is going to be hilarious." "Ma'am, turn off the phone now or I'll confiscate it." Alexis makes an exaggerated, pouty face at the camera. "See? They're already being so serious." "Okay, fine." She turns off the recording but doesn't put the phone away. She just holds in her hand as she walks to the defendant's table. Behind her walks her attorney, Gregory Mitchell, from a prestigious New York law firm. He's 62 years old, clearly uncomfortable with his client's behavior, but professionally obligated to represent her. He's tried to control her behavior. But Alexis Hoffman listens to no one. Judge Frank Caprio watches his entrance with careful attention. He's seen entitled defendants before, but the level of open contempt Alexis is displaying is extraordinary. "Ms. Hoffman," Judge Caprio begins, his voice calm and measured. "Please put your phone away completely. Alexis looks up at him, and her expression is one of amused disdain. Why? I'm not using it. Because this is a court of law, not a social media studio. Put the phone in your purse now. Alexis sighs dramatically, making sure everyone can see how put upon she feels, then drops her phone into her expensive handbag. There. Happy. Judge Caprio doesn't respond to the sarcasm. Ms. Hoffman, you're facing serious charges. Vehicular assault resulting in injury to another person, reckless driving, leaving the scene and driving under the influence. How do you plead? Alexis leans back in her chair, crosses her legs, and looks at Judge Caprio like he just asked her the most absurd question imaginable. Do you know who I am? Ms. Hoffman, I asked how you plead. No, seriously. Do you know who I am? Because I feel like if you did, we wouldn't be wasting time with this charade. Her attorney tries to intervene. Your Honor, my client pleads not guilty to all charges. We'll be filing motions. Alexis cuts him off. Gregory, be quiet. I'm talking. She turns back to Judge Caprio. I'm Alexis Hoffman. My father is Dr. Marcus Hoffman, founder and CEO of Hoffman Pharmaceuticals. Maybe you've heard of it? It's only an $8 billion company that produces medications used by millions of people worldwide. My father employs 12,000 people. He's donated hundreds of millions to medical research, hospitals, universities. Judge Caprio's expression remains neutral. Ms. Hoffman, your father's accomplishments are not relevant to the charges against you. How do you plead? Alexis laughs, a sharp, mocking sound. Not relevant? Everything about my father is relevant. He has influence you can't even imagine. He knows governors, senators, people who actually matter. And me? I have 4.7 million followers on social media. I'm an influencer. I have real power in today's world. Ms. Hoffman, social media followers don't exempt you from the law. Don't they, though? Alexis's smile is cold. See, that's where you're wrong, Judge. You're operating in this old world system where you think you have authority. But I live in a different world. A world where public opinion matters more than anything some small-town judge says. The courtroom has gone completely silent. Even the reporters are stunned by the level of disrespect. Gregory Mitchell is desperately trying to salvage the situation. Your Honor, my client is understandably stressed by these proceedings. If we could just... I'm not stressed, Gregory. I'm bored. Alexis turns to address the entire courtroom now. Let me explain something to all of you. This court means nothing to me. These charges mean nothing to me. Why? Because I'm going to walk out of here in an hour, get in my car, and go back to my life. My real life. Where I live in a penthouse in Manhattan, where I travel the world, where I wear clothes and jewelry worth more than most people make in a year. Judge Caprio's voice cuts through her monologue. Ms. Hoffman, 3 weeks ago, you were driving your Maserati through downtown Providence at approximately 11:30 p.m. You struck a 19-year-old college student named Emily Rodriguez as she was crossing the street in a marked crosswalk. You then fled the scene, leaving her bleeding on the pavement with a broken leg, fractured ribs, and a concussion. Do you deny these facts? Alexis waves her hand dismissively. I bumped someone with my car. Accident happened. I'm sure she's fine. Probably looking for a lawsuit payday. She's fine? Ms. Rodriguez spent 4 days in the hospital. She's still in physical therapy. She missed a semester of college because of her injuries. And I'm sure my father's lawyers have already reached out to her family with a generous settlement offer. Problem solved. That's how the real world works, Judge. Money fixes things. Judge Caprio signals to the prosecutor. Mr. Harrison, please present the evidence. Assistant District Attorney James Harrison stands. He's 45 years old, experienced, and he's been dreading and anticipating this case in equal measure. Your Honor, we have security camera footage from 3 different angles showing the incident Witness testimony from 5 people who saw what happened, hospital records documenting Ms. Rodriguez's injuries, and toxicology reports showing Ms. Hoffman had multiple controlled substances in her system at the time of the accident. Alexis actually yawns. She makes sure it's visible, theatrical, insulting. The courtroom monitor activates, showing security footage from a downtown Providence street camera. The image is crystal clear. Alexis's white Maserati is visible, traveling at high speed down a residential street. Emily Rodriguez enters the crosswalk, the walk signal clearly showing she has the right of way. The Maserati doesn't slow down. It strikes Emily, sending her flying several feet through the air. She hits the pavement hard. The Maserati's brake lights flash briefly, but then the car accelerates and speeds away, leaving Emily lying motionless on the street. Pedestrians rush to help Emily. Someone is clearly calling 911. The timestamp shows the Maserati fleeing at 11:47 p.m. When the footage ends, several people in the courtroom gallery are crying. The violence of the impact, the callousness of fleeing the scene, it's all captured in horrifying detail. Judge Caprio looks at Alexis. Ms. Hoffman, you just watched yourself strike a young woman and drive away. What do you have to say? Alexis shrugs. She stepped into the street. I was driving. It happened fast. I panicked and left. Anyone would have done the same. Anyone would have left an injured woman bleeding on the street. I was scared, okay? I wasn't thinking clearly. Judge Caprio makes a note. The toxicology report shows you had multiple substances in your system. Specifically, high levels of prescription medications. Adderall, Xanax, and Ambien. That's a stimulant, an anti-anxiety medication, and a sleep aid. Why were you taking all 3 simultaneously? Alexis shifts uncomfortably for the first time. I have prescription for all of them. It's legal. You have prescriptions that authorize you to take all 3 medications at the same time while driving? I take what I need when I need it. My doctor prescribed them. I take them. That's how prescriptions work. Which doctor prescribed these medications? My doctors. My father's company employs dozens of physicians. They take care of our family's medical needs. Judge Caprio's expression shifts slightly. Something in that answer caught his attention. Your father's company employs the physicians who prescribe your medications? Yes, so what? It's convenient. I don't have to wait for appointments or deal with insurance. If I need something, I call the company medical staff, and they prescribe it. And these company physicians, they prescribe you stimulants, anti-anxiety medications, and sleep aids, knowing you'll be taking them simultaneously. They prescribe what I ask for, what I need. Alexis's confidence is wavering slightly. Why does this matter? I had prescriptions. That's legal. Judge Caprio turns to the prosecutor. Mr. Harrison, what does the toxicology report say about the levels of these substances in Ms. Hoffman's system? James Harrison reviews his documents. Your Honor, the levels were extremely high. The Adderall was at 3.5 times the normal therapeutic dose. The Xanax was at twice the normal dose. The Ambien was at 4 times the normal dose. Individually, any of these levels would be concerning. Combined, they represent severe impairment, similar to a BAC of 0.15 or higher. And these medications were prescribed by physicians employed by her father's pharmaceutical company? Yes, Your Honor. All 3 prescriptions were issued by Dr. Raymond Foster, listed as Chief Medical Officer at Hoffman Pharmaceuticals. Judge Caprio looks at Alexis carefully. Ms. Hoffman, Dr. Foster prescribed you doses that are 3 to 4 times higher than normal therapeutic levels. Why? Alexis's face flushes. Because I need higher doses. I have tolerance. That's normal with these medications. It's normal for a 25-year-old to need 4 times the normal dose of a sleep medication. I have trouble sleeping. And 3.5 times the normal dose of Adderall. I have focus issues. And double the normal dose of Xanax. I have anxiety. What is this, an interrogation? Judge Caprio's voice becomes very quiet. Ms. Hoffman, are these prescriptions medically justified, or are you being given excessive amounts of controlled substances by physicians employed by your father's company? Alexis realizes she said too much. They're prescriptions. They're legal. I don't have to justify my medical care to you. Actually, when you drive a vehicle while impaired by medications at dangerously high levels and strike pedestrian, I have every right to question whether those prescriptions are appropriate. Judge Caprio picks up his phone. Get me the FDA's Office of Criminal Investigations. Tell them I have information about possible illegal distribution of controlled substances by a pharmaceutical company. Alexis's face goes white. What? No, you can't do that. Your Honor. Gregory Mitchell stands quickly. This is beyond the scope of these charges. My client's prescriptions are a separate medical matter. Mr. Mitchell, your client just admitted that physicians employed by her father's pharmaceutical company are prescribing her controlled substances at 3 to 4 times normal therapeutic levels. That suggests improper prescribing practices, possible drug diversion, and potential criminal distribution of controlled substances. The FDA needs to investigate. Alexis is panicking now. This is insane. You're supposed to be judging me for a car accident, not attacking my father's company. I'm not attacking anything, Ms. Hoffman. I'm following evidence of potential federal crimes. You provided that evidence by admitting to taking dangerously high doses of multiple controlled substances prescribed by company physicians. Within minutes, the courtroom speakerphone activates. A professional female voice comes through. This is Special Agent Karen Morrison, FDA Office of Criminal Investigations. Judge Caprio. Yes, Agent Morrison. Thank you for responding. I have you on speakerphone in Providence Municipal Court. What can I do for you, Your Honor? Agent Morrison, I'm hearing a vehicular assault case involving Alexis Hoffman, daughter of Dr. Marcus Hoffman, CEO of Hoffman Pharmaceuticals. The defendant struck a pedestrian while impaired by multiple controlled substances. Toxicology reports show Adderall at 3.5 times normal therapeutic levels, Xanax at double normal levels, and Ambien at 4 times normal levels. Ms. Hoffman has stated these medications were prescribed by physicians employed by her father's pharmaceutical company, specifically by the company's chief medical officer. There's a pause. Your Honor, those levels suggest dangerous overprescribing. If company physicians are prescribing controlled substances at those levels without proper medical justification, that's illegal distribution. We'd need to investigate. Judge Caprio continues, Agent Morrison, Ms. Hoffman also stated that she receives prescriptions from company medical staff whenever she needs them without standard appointment procedures. This suggests Hoffman Pharmaceuticals may be operating an internal prescription system that bypasses normal medical protocols. Your Honor, if Hoffman Pharmaceuticals is providing controlled substances to family members or executives outside of legitimate medical practice, that's felony distribution. We've been monitoring pharmaceutical company for diversion schemes, but this is the first indication we've had regarding Hoffman Pharmaceuticals. Can you hold the defendant while we dispatch agents? Alexa stands up, her voice shaking. You can't do this. My father's company is legitimate. Those are real prescriptions. Agent Morrison responds, Ma'am, prescriptions must be medically justified. Giving someone 4 times the normal dose of Ambien isn't medical treatment. It's drug distribution. We'll need to examine all prescriptions issued to you and your family by company physicians. Judge Caprio asks, What happens next, Agent Morrison? Your Honor, we're opening an immediate investigation into Hoffman Pharmaceuticals' prescribing practices. We'll be subpoenaing all prescription records for the Hoffman family and company executives. We'll be interviewing the physicians who issue these prescriptions. If we find systematic overprescribing or distribution outside of legitimate medical practice, we'll execute search warrants on the company and file federal charges. The call ends. Alexis is frozen, her earlier arrogance completely shattered. Judge Caprio addresses her directly. Ms. Hoffman, you came into my courtroom believing it meant nothing. You laughed at these proceedings. You mock the system. But your own statements about your medication use just triggered a federal investigation into your father's company. I was just explaining. I didn't mean to. Alexis is crying now, her makeup running. Over the next 48 hours, the FDA investigation expands rapidly. Agents discover that Hoffman Pharmaceuticals has been operating what amounts to a private prescription service for family members, executives, and wealthy clients. Company physicians have been prescribing massive quantities of controlled substances without proper medical examinations or justification. The investigation reveals that Dr. Marcus Hoffman himself has been taking prescription opioids at levels that would kill most people, prescribed by his own company doctors. His wife has been getting anti-anxiety medications and sleep aids in quantities, suggesting she's taking 10 to 15 pills per day. Multiple executives have similar patterns, but the investigation uncovers something even worse. Hoffman Pharmaceuticals has been producing an enhanced version of Adderall, increasing the amphetamine content beyond FDA-approved levels, and distributing it exclusively to wealthy clients willing to pay premium prices. This medication was never approved by the FDA. It's completely illegal. The financial records show $340 million in revenue from these unapproved medications over 5 years. 5 days after Alexis's courtroom appearance, FBI agents and FDA investigators execute simultaneous raids on Hoffman Pharmaceuticals' headquarters, manufacturing facilities, and Dr. Marcus Hoffman's residence. Dr. Marcus Hoffman is arrested while trying to board his private jet, clearly attempting to flee the country. The charges are extensive: illegal manufacture and distribution of controlled substances, drug trafficking, healthcare fraud, conspiracy, and money laundering. The FDA immediately recalls all Hoffman Pharmaceutical products pending investigation. The company's stock, trading at $420 per share, crashes to $32 per share in a single day. The $8 billion company loses 92% of its value in 72 hours. 3 weeks later, back in Providence Municipal Court, Judge Caprio proceeds with Alexis's sentencing. She no longer has an expensive New York attorney. Her father's assets have been frozen. She has a court-appointed public defender. Ms. Hoffman, Judge Caprio begins. On the charges of vehicular assault, you struck Emily Rodriguez and fled the scene while severely impaired by medications at dangerously high levels. You showed no remorse. You mocked this court. You called these proceedings meaningless. How do you plead now? Alexis's voice is barely audible. Guilty, Your Honor, to all charges. Here is your sentence. 2 years in state prison, 3 years probation, permanent revocation of your driver's license, mandatory substance abuse treatment, and full restitution to Emily Rodriguez for all medical expenses, lost wages, and pain and suffering. Furthermore, you will complete 500 hours of community service upon release, working with organizations that support victims of impaired driving accidents. As Alexis is led away in handcuffs, she looks nothing like the confident, mocking woman who entered the courtroom weeks ago. She looks broken, terrified, and finally understanding that actions have consequences. 6 months later, Dr. Marcus Hoffman's trial concludes. The evidence is overwhelming. Manufacturing records for unapproved drugs, prescription records showing systematic overprescribing, financial documents showing $340 million in illegal drug sales, testimony from company physicians who were pressured to write improper prescriptions. The jury deliberates for 2 days. Guilty on all counts. Dr. Marcus Hoffman is sentenced to 18 years in federal prison, ordered to forfeit $340 million in illegal profits, pay $500 million in fines, and his company is permanently shut down. Hoffman Pharmaceuticals is dissolved, its assets liquidated to pay victims and fines. 12,000 employees lose their jobs. Shareholders lose billions. The Hoffman family fortune, built over 30 years, is completely destroyed. 1 year into Alexis's sentence, she receives a visitor, Emily Rodriguez, the young woman she struck with her car. Emily walks with a slight limp now, a permanent reminder that night. She sits across from Alexis in the prison visiting room. "Why did you come here?" Alexis asks quietly. Emily's voice is calm. "Because I needed to see you. The real you, not the person who laughed in court, not the person who called me a lawsuit payday. I need to see if you've changed." "I've changed," Alexis whispers. "I destroyed my life. I destroyed my father's company. I destroyed everything because I thought I was special, untouchable. I wasn't. I was just an addict being enabled by my father's pharmaceutical company. You were driving impaired. You hit me. You left me bleeding in the street. Do you understand what that did to me?" Alexis is crying now. "I think about it every day. Every single day. I'm so sorry. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I'm sorry." Emily studies her for a long moment. "I forgive you, Alexis. Not because you deserve it, but because holding on to anger hurts me more than it hurts you. I'm moving forward with my life. I hope someday you can too. If this story moved you, subscribe right now for more moments where Judge Frank Caprio proves that no amount of money, no pharmaceutical empire, no social media followers place anyone above justice. Hit that like button and share this because the world needs to see what happens when arrogance meets accountability. Remember Judge Caprio's words. "You came into my courtroom believing it meant nothing. You laughed at these proceedings. But your own statements just triggered a federal investigation." That's the legacy of Judge Frank Caprio. That's the courage of Emily Rodriguez. That's the dedication of Special Agent Karen Morrison. One courtroom, one defendant who laughed and said, "This court means nothing to me." One question about medication that exposed $340 million in illegal drug distribution, an $8 billion pharmaceutical empire destroyed, a CEO father sentenced to 18 years federal prison, 12,000 jobs lost, and one arrogant heiress who learned that courts mean everything, especially when you treat them like they mean nothing.